Hello and welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for joining me. Today I'm back with another video suggesting a good jumping on point for new listeners to Big Finish's range of Doctor Who audio dramas. Newcomers to the world of Doctor Who on audio, faced with a huge back catalogue, can be intimidated by the sheer number of titles on offer and really struggle choosing where to start. This series aims to clear up some of that confusion and offer those new to Big Finish a selection of good places to begin your journey. Today, we're looking at another of the early releases, The Marian Conspiracy, featuring Maggie Stables as Evelyn Smythe and Colin Baker as the Sixth Doctor. So let's jump in. The Sixth Doctor, fairly or unfairly, had a reputation of being loud, brash, violent and arrogant during his TV run. When Colin Baker took on the role of the Doctor at the end of the show's 21st season, there was a perhaps controversial plan to initially make his version of the character unappealing and very, very alien, and then slowly open that up over the years and develop him into a more likeable personality. But this plan was one of a long game, and for reasons outside of Baker's control, his Doctor was abruptly axed and replaced 2 seasons in, and well before he'd had a chance to fully see through his character's arc. Not the fault of the actor, producer, or any of the creatives. Higher management at the BBC had another vision for the future of the show, and Colin Baker sadly wasn't a part of that vision. But the consequences of this decision did mean that for a long while Colin's Doctor was somewhat maligned and disliked in fandom at large, often appearing at the bottom of favourite Doctor lists, and his era was perhaps seen by some as the beginning of the downfall of the show. But Big Finish were waiting in the wings. When the company gained the licence from the BBC to begin producing and releasing original Doctor Who audio dramas beginning in 1999, they were lucky enough to get 3 of the TV actors involved. With Colin Baker on board, and after his initial appearance alongside Peter Davison and Sylvester McCoy in the first audio release The Sirens of Time, and then his subsequent solo adventure alongside Nicola Bryant as Perry in The Whispers of Terror, The Marian Conspiracy was something of a new start for the character, with a new direction, new companion, and the beginning of the Sixth Doctor's rehabilitation and re-evaluation in the eyes of fandom. Recorded in October 1999, written by Jacqueline Rayner and directed by Gary Russell, The Marian Conspiracy was the 6th release in the main range of Doctor Who audio adventures. The Marian Conspiracy is what is usually referred to as a pure historical. By this, we usually mean that the plot, setting and characters contain no science fiction ideas other than the Doctor, his companions and the TARDIS. Pure historicals in Doctor Who had largely died out in the 1960s, but made a brief return in 1981's Black Orchid to mixed success. Certainly in the Sixth Doctor's TV era, they were as far from the bread and butter of the series as it was possible to get. But set largely in the Tudor era of 1555, and concerning the conspiracy of Queen Elizabeth I and Queen Mary, as well as some odd timey-wimey effects on his new friend Dr. Evelyn Smythe, this adventure is one that fans of history will definitely get a kick out of. It's a major throwback to the era of the First Doctor, emulating adventures such as the Reign of Terror or the Romans, where the TARDIS team are caught up in real-life historical events or locations, and if we're lucky, meet real-life historical figures. Let's take a look at the synopsis from the Big Finish website. Tracking a nexus point in time, the Doctor meets Dr. Evelyn Smythe, a history lecturer whose own history seems to be rapidly vanishing. The Doctor must travel back to Tudor times to stabilise the nexus and save Evelyn's life. But there he meets the Queen of England and uses all his skills of diplomacy to avoid ending up on the headman's block. If I'm honest, pure historicals aren't usually my thing. For me, Doctor Who is about the sci-fi, the monsters and the adventures, so you may be wondering why I've recommended this one as a good jumping on point. That reason is Dr. Evelyn Smythe. When Big Finish decided to create an all-new original companion for the Sixth Doctor for their fledgling Doctor Who range, they happily threw out the rulebook which had established the pattern we were all familiar with. Though there had been developments in the role of the companion over the years, and some of the actors cast had perhaps given more strength, depth and development to their characters than what was necessarily on the page, it had become somewhat of a cliché that the Doctor travelled with a young person who was there to run around, be menaced by monsters, and then be rescued. But Dr. Evelyn Smythe had other ideas. Portrayed amazingly by the much-missed Maggie Stables, Evelyn was a mature, educated woman likely to be seen carrying her handbag on her adventures in the TARDIS, giving the Doctor short shrift when his claims of self-grandeur became too outlandish. Frankly, she had no time for any of the Doctor's nonsense, and we love her for it. It seems so obvious now that such a dynamic could work brilliantly, and it was a shame that it took so long to bring it to life.
All right, you can come in, but not for long. I'm very busy.
I thought you were knitting.
I'm very busy knitting. A jumper for one of my students.
Very nice. And he has one arm longer than the other, does he?
Have you come round for any particular purpose, or just to criticise me?
Well, I was rather hoping to see those records you mentioned. The accounts of John Whiteside Smith.
And that's it? You'll look at the books and then go?
Well, a cup of tea would be nice.
But even more than that, it was the warmth and humanity of the character of Evelyn that began the Sixth Doctor on his own journey of growing, becoming more rounded, and finally seeing through the plan that Colin had way back in the early 80s. In short, the introduction of Evelyn was the catalyst for the Sixth Doctor becoming one of the most loved incarnations and certainly one of the keystones of the Doctor Who audio range. And the Marian conspiracy is where that starts, and so it's for this reason that I urge you to take the plunge here and get in on the Six and Evelyn adventures on the ground floor. Believe me, the pair will take you to places both surprising and deeply emotional, and if Evelyn doesn't quickly become one of your favourite characters of the entire canon of Doctor Who, then I really don't know what to tell you. So that's my reason why I think you should choose the Marian conspiracy as your jumping on point for Doctor Who on audio. Being an early release, it's $2.99 on the Big Finish website, and like many of the early titles, available for free on Spotify and Apple Music. I hope that you give this one a try, even if, like me, historicals aren't your usual go-to Doctor Who story. I'd love to hear what you thought, so drop me a comment when you've had a chance to listen. And that's that. If you've enjoyed this video or found it useful, please do give me a thumbs up, subscribe and share, and I'll be back very soon with another video. Bye bye for now.